Programming languages. A programming language is a set of commands, instructions, and other syntax used to create a software program. Languages that programmers use to write code are called high-level languages. The code written in high-level language can be compiled into a low-level language, which is recognized directly by the computer hardware. The most basic computer language is the machine language, that is low level, that uses binary, that is zeros and ones code, which a computer can run or execute very fast without using any translator or interpreter program. The high-level languages such as C, Java are much simpler to use but need to use another program, a compiler or an interpreter, to convert the high-level code into the machine code and are therefore slower. The earliest programming languages preceded the invention of the computer and were used to direct the behavior of machines. Thousands of different programming languages have been created, mainly in the computer field, and many more still are being created every year. The description of a programming language is usually split into the two components such as syntax, that is form, and semantics, that is meaning. Types of programming languages. Different languages have different purposes, so it makes sense to talk about different kinds or types of languages. Some of the types are machine languages, assembly languages, high-level languages. Machine languages. Machine language is the only language that a computer understands. Each statement in a machine language program is a sequence of bits. Each bit may be set to 0 or 1. Machine language is a low-level programming language. It is easily understood by computers but difficult to read by people. A series of bits represents instructions that a computer can understand. For example, the number 455 is represented by the bit sequence 111-000-111. Programs written in high-level languages are compiled and or interpreted, that is converted into machine language, that is zeros and ones, so computers can execute them. Advantage of machine language. The only advantage is that program of machine language run very fast because no translation program is required for the CPU. Disadvantages of machine language. It is very difficult to program in machine language. The programmer has to remember a lot of code to write a program, which results in program errors. It is difficult to debug the program. Assembly languages. Assembly language is a representation of machine language. The program is in alphanumeric symbols instead of zeros and ones. The programs written in other than the machine language need to be converted to the machine language. Translators are needed for conversion from one language to another language. Assemblers are used to convert assembly language program to machine language. Every processor has its own assembly language. The alphanumeric symbols are called mnemonics in the assembly language. The add, sub, mul, div, etc. are some symbols called mnemonics. Advantages of assembly language. The symbolic programming in assembly language is easier to understand and saves a lot of time and effort by the programmer. It is easier to correct errors and modify program instructions. Disadvantages of assembly language. One of the major disadvantages is that the assembly language is machine dependent. A program written for one computer might not run on other computers with different hardware configuration. High-level languages. Procedure-oriented languages are high-level languages. These languages are employed for easy and speedy development of the program. The disadvantages observed with assembly languages are overcome by high-level languages. The programmer does not need to remember the architecture and registers of a CPU for developing a program. The compilers are used to translate high-level language program to machine language. High-level languages are designed to be used by the human operator or the programmer. High-level language does not require addressing hardware constraints to a greater extent when developing a program. High-level languages have the following features such as easier to write, easier to read, easier to maintain, portable can across different CPU families, supports a wide range of data types. Examples of high-level languages are C, C++, Java, Python, etc. Advantages of high-level language. Testing and debugging a program is easier than in the assembly language. Portability of a program from one machine to other. Disadvantages of high-level language. A disadvantage of high-level language is that they are usually less powerful and less efficient since statements are busy. High-level languages also need to be compiled and or interpreted into machine language before execution.